Click the links for Odyssey and BitChute, where there is much, much less censorship. Okay, Disney is Disney too big to fail? I don't know. There's certainly it's as if they're trying to fail. Movies, shows, and comics are never going to go back to normal. You're never going to get the 77 Star Wars, Goonies, Indiana Jones, or Gremlins. And if you were old enough now to see those movies in the theater, then you saw a period of American filmmaking. Yes, I know that's not Citizen Kane, but where you were guaranteed 90 minutes of just escapist fiction while eating popcorn. It was from 77 to what, 87? I would say that was probably, for just silly pop culture entertainment, that was a great decade. So those movies are gone forever. You're not even, as it turns out, going to get Lord of the Rings. Wokeness is a one-way street. And people think, oh, it's the Twitter SGWs who are pressuring the companies. The companies just want to make money, just want to protect that bottom line. But those Twitter SGWs won't let them. No, it's not. It's the companies are the same people that are on Twitter. They're all SGWs. If anything, the companies themselves are further left than the Twitter SGWs, who a lot of them don't really know the big picture. They're just kind of normies who are just like mindlessly parodying phrases. So it's not exactly SGWs pressuring the companies. The companies are very happy to move left. Overall, the corporate entity itself, yes, it has to survive. It's got to be in the black. But subdivisions can be in the red as long as they're pushing the anti-white propaganda. That is their goal. And it sounds like if you told me I would use that phrase 10 years ago, I would have said you were crazy. What can I say? Open your eyes and start reading the news. The entertainment companies are massively overrepresented by globalists. It is a belief system based on faith, not science. It's somewhat akin to a religion. There is a trick I used to do on Twitter that I was proud of because I rarely saw it used. I used to be a pretty good troll, which is why I have been kicked off so often. I would use a bait technique where I would obtusely misstate an argument, but only slightly. Then when I was asked for sources, I would provide them, and the facts were slightly better or worse, but the point was that now the other person was engaged in an argument that was proving my point in a roundabout way. It got them. It was like a sticky... testicles. No, I think you mean tentacles. I'd misstate something about the history of, I think that was Better Off Dead. Again, an excellent 80s movie with Cusack. I would misstate something about the history of communism. I say 50 million people were starved fatally, or a quote from one of their founders. Then when I was asked for sources, the facts were still bad. It's like, oh, no worries. Only 40 million were turned into fertilizer by the Bolsheviks. That's just a walk in the park. I'm glad you corrected me, and now we're having this discussion about how many were yeeted by the Bolsheviks. Hardcore commies won't take the bait because they know the facts are not on their side. Globalism is a matter of faith. It doesn't matter how much suffering there will be, because at the end they will have achieved nirvana. And when they don't reach it, it will be due to the wreckers of progress who escaped the gulag. So when they make Batgirl or Birds of Prey, which wasn't horrible, sorry, it's not their fault when it doesn't sell. It's the audience's fault for not hating themselves enough. I was reading some LGBT comic people's Twitter, who I won't name because he seems to thrive on Comicsgate talking about him. His selling point was gay comics. If you like inclusivity and diversity, then buy these comics. But that's not how stories are told or sold. That's how propaganda is. That's basically advertising. And to be honest, most of us think diversity is cancer and inclusivity just means breastless POC lesbians. The left wing built windmills to tilt against and are outraged that the windmills won't fight back. We just want to grill, man. Outrage marketing doesn't work on the left because an omnibus of LGBT comics was never going to be a big seller. The product is fundamentally flawed, and a lot of these comics are really half-assed, no pun intended. The art is really lazy, and it's like, we're gay. No. You should, in fact, if you're in the BLT community, you should start writing normal stories. Oh my God, I said normal. Straight romance, adventure. And then when you master that craft, make the characters gay if you want. But you first have to master storytelling before you jump into BLT storytelling. Comicsgate was more successful because most of the comics are pretty good, and the people in Comicsgate were not the monsters that the left portrayed them to be. We didn't want to stop Mark Waid from selling. He wanted to stop Myers. That makes Waid the bad guy. The people in Comicsgate might be assholes. I won't name names here, but yeah, there are assholes everywhere. But there's like harmless assholes and dangerous assholes. And Comicsgate are the harmless assholes, where SJW Mark Waid types, they want to stop you from doing business. They want you homeless. They want you not in the industry at all. They hate you so much that Comicsgate people had to create their own industry. We don't call your business partner to get you fired or send you pictures of our anus or give death threats. That's from Robbie Rodriguez. I don't know how long you've been in Comicsgate. This is a gay man who didn't just send a picture of his middle finger or his tongue out, or even a picture of his backside in jeans, like as if to say, kiss his butt. He lay on his back and took a picture, not just of his butt or his balls or his dick or something, which would have been kind of funny. Like, male genitalia is funny looking. It's funny to send people pictures. No. He opened up himself and took a picture of his butthole. That's the most disgusting thing I have. That's so. It's not. Listen, I'm not turned off by disgusted by biology. It's that you would think in your twisted mind that is acceptable as a matter of public discourse. You're involved in comics in an industry, and you're sending a picture of your butthole to another person in the industry. That is a deranged, twisted mind. And what happened to him? Oh, nothing happened to him. Because that's the way of the world. Okay, so following the people in comics in Hollywood since the start of Comicsgate has been a window into a lunatic asylum of adult children who would prefer to burn an industry down rather than just give people good stories. People don't want diversity and inclusion. They want entertainment. Diversity and inclusion is like bragging about what colors the trailers are that you're hooking to your race car, just spelled a fast car. The mainstream media is done with focusing on race cars. They're just adding trailers. That's the cost of doing business post-2020 BLM riots. Those are the new rules of the track. If a film or comic tries to race without a trailer, the media and social media and award shows will pull out the pitchforks and torches, though I'm not too sure about the future of awards shows. People used to watch well-known actors who've been on the big screen for decades, but streaming and social media kind of dilute the star power of Hollywood. PewDiePie and Kim Kardashian are as well-known as Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt. And because of social media, we get a glimpse into Hollywood, and it's not pretty. It's a lot of Epstein-Weinstein stuff. The cultural impact is that fewer people are on the same page in regard to news and entertainment. Obviously, entertainment does not matter. But, I don't know. Politics is downstream from culture. The news is important because different sources are showing that the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, cannot be trusted by objectively showing their lies. Project Veritas is a well-known example, but it's just one example, the best well-known, but there are all it takes to prove that CNN is a liar is a high-definition cell phone. A $200 phone can show that Hillary fainted. She passed out and she had to be thrown into the back of a van like a pile of potatoes. Why wasn't the media there with their $50,000 digital video cameras that can, pick up a fly's ass? Somebody with an iPhone had to take that video and publicize it. Why wasn't MSNBC following Hillary all the way back? Because they didn't want her to look bad. Because they're shills. They're nothing more than globalists. They are the enemy. They're the open enemy. ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN. Anyway, the Covington Catholic kids, thank God people had their cell phones out, because that showed the mainstream media to be nothing more than globalist parasites. All this leads is to a low-trust society, which is a healthy awakening for people. You should not trust the media or the government. They lie to you. They repeatedly lie to you. It's like they took their masks off 20 years ago and decided to turn America into a commercial zone controlled by hostile foreign billionaires. People need to change their perspective on the media. It's not passive entertainment. It's active propaganda. Everyone has bias. Everything you see on a screen is someone's version of a lie. There was always propaganda in films. But if you continue the trend for woke films over the past few years and extrapolate into the future, then Hollywood is pretty much over. How much woke can you take before you just admit it is over? Let me put it like this. I don't mind a lecture, but it better be coming from someone on the level of Jesus Christ or Odin. The problem is the people lecturing us are hollow shadow people. They are obese, blue-haired cat moms who cover up for Epstein-Weinstein because it keeps them in cocaine. They are parasites that sort of look human. Vampire people who suck the lifeblood of civilizations. Vampires kill one by one. Hollywood destroys entire nations. If you are over 40, you look at how far America has sunk, then you look at Hollywood and eventually it clicks for you. They are monsters, and they are doing this with purpose. Look at drag kids, then look at the people pushing it. The people writing articles, the social media posts. In a healthy society, be careful here, buddy, we would have handled the problem a long time ago. But it is a slow boiling frog where we have essentially the precursor to the dancing boys of Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's all real. It's actually happening. And if I go into details, YouTube will just nuke the channel. This is Sodom and Gomorrah stuff. Maybe society does need a cleansing hellfire to burn away the fleas and ticks. And there are a few more steps beyond drag kids, you know what I'm talking about. But if we're not up in arms over mutilating children now, why would we care when they legalize the next time, the Epstein step in a few years? Literally, right now, well, I mean, technically at birth, we mutilate young boys. That's insane. And then the next step is that a child can choose to permanently mutilate themselves because they and their parents have been brainwashed by Bolshevism for years. The only reason we accept this degeneracy is because they got us used to it over 40 years of LGBT rights. It is a slippery slope that has turned into a vertical cliff. So people watch Disney losing money or these entertainment company mergers. They see billion-dollar companies continue to make woke cancer that doesn't sell. Eventually, even the normie has to wake up and realize that it is not about money. The guys who run these companies are not stupid. It would be impossible to think that they don't know what they're doing. They very much have agency and a plan. Disney missed its expectations, but you can blame most of that on the Woo Flu, but not all of it. The park underperformed because the Star Wars trilogy was effing horrible. If you don't believe me, go back to the 2015 Force Awakens, watch it again, it sucks. They don't suddenly replace all the characters with breastless Chinese girls. They sneak it up on you. Well, I had an example. I don't remember. First, it's a black breastless lesbian in the background. Next thing you know, everyone is a Marxist furry who cries and masturbates when not busy fighting the patriarchy. Of course, the patriarchy will always look like a man out of German central casting because every story to them is a continuation of World War II. That is the only story they know how to tell. Blonde, blue-eyed, bad. Forget your biological family. Replace it with a new Marxist cult family. Their goal has always been to destroy your in-group preference while maintaining theirs. Just for a second, take a look at the Disney trilogy and the other movies where they race swap out the European characters for an African one. Watch the movies with a notebook. What message are they trying to convey? Take the 77 film, compare it to The Force Awakens. Imagine for a second they got a cast that looked like the original film. Call me crazy, but I suspect it would have sold better. Why was Rose Tico so hideously ugly? Why did it look like a Hollywood movie made for diversity points? Finn hurt Chinese sales. They hate that kind of stuff over there. You should hear what they said about Black Panther. It was delightfully unpolitically correct. Of course, the Chinese can't be racist because all 2 billion of them are marginalized and oppressed, but I'm not sure how they are oppressed by Americans and not their own government. But logic has no place in Marxism. Like, comment, subscribe, support channel on Coffee if you want, or if you go to BitChute and Odysee, that'd be cool too.